This has rotation and may produce a tornado at any point as we go through time here. Jonathan, back if you can switch over to Max 2 on this. I'm going to run you through what we're looking at across the Wiregrass. There is a tornado watch in effect for the northern and eastern part of the area. That cell is officially not severe in Barber County, but Tallahassee, which covers this part of Georgia, has issued a severe thunderstorm warning in anticipation of that cell. This is actually covered by Birmingham, and they do not have a severe weather warning on this cell in Barber County, but it is producing rotation. That rotation area is getting stronger, and it's got a very significant S shape on it on the Doppler radar. So this is potentially on the verge of producing a tornado. A lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning, and this is coming into the city of Eufaula here pretty quickly. Let me pause, and I'm going to have Zach Hatcher run the radar for me. So Zach, let's zoom in here a little bit as we look at this intense storm moving into Eufaula. Let's zoom in a little bit here in the northern part of Barber County. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rainfall. And if we switch over to the velocity, let's go storm relative velocity on this, you'll actually see a very significant pocket of rotation right in through here using the radar at Fort Novacell. These are winds blowing southward. These are winds blowing away from the radar site. And this is that pocket of rotation that is moving towards Eufaula, a little brightening there of the colors. Let's zoom in just a little bit more exactly where Zach is drawing that circulation. That's the area of circulation that is drifting down to the southeast and will come very close to Eufaula here before too long. So outbound winds here, inbound winds here. That's a pocket of circulation that may strengthen as it moves into the city of Eufaula. So even though there's not a tornado warning in effect or even a severe thunderstorm warning for Barber County, I would say be somewhere safe as this cell passes here. Some very strong rotation with this area of this storm coming on through Barber County. So there's what's almost a hook shape starting to take shape here. That is off to the north of Osco, off to the northwest of Eufaula. There's Highway 82, so just to the south and west there where you see that marker. That's where that pocket of rotation is strongest at this point, and it is moving again kind of to the east and southeast, and that will bring that circulation pretty close to Eufaula here before too long. Let me back this up just a few frames here. This is the base velocity, and you kind of make out that pocket of rotation. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here to give you just a little better view. So there's that area of rotation as it moves down to the south and to the east there towards the city of Eufaula. And we want to make sure that if this goes tornado warned, or if that pocket of rotation tightens, that you are ready and prepared to go someplace safe. If we go back here just a little bit, you can see the colors are brightening there. The greens are brightening a little bit, so that indicates somewhat stronger rotation in the atmosphere. And not only is this producing some gusty winds, but there's just a ton of lightning occurring as well with this storm. So we want to make sure, again, that this doesn't tighten up too much more and actually produce a tornado. All right, we have a live shot to show you from Eufaula. There's a look outside in Eufaula with that cloud approaching here, the city moving in from the northwest. A very distinct shelf cloud showing up here, and you can actually make out some of the lowering. These are scud clouds, and that's actually caused by the updraft. The air is rising up into the shelf, and as that condensation occurs, you get some lowering there of the cloud base. And even though that looks ominous, that's just an indication of the updraft that's occurring with this cell. And then we have these strong winds pushing out ahead of it as well. So we're watching this storm as it approaches Eufaula, very ominous, and we'll watch for perhaps some rotation that will tighten to the point that it produces a funnel cloud. And if that occurs, of course, that can lead to a tornado. So a very potent storm there taking shape as we look at what's happening now in Barber County. Big view, most of the storms at this hour are areas north and northeast in the Wiregrass. Not much happening areas west or south. It's certainly warm, it is certainly humid, but the action is off to the north and to the east of many areas. But again, this small storm is producing a lot of lightning, and it has that pocket of rotation, and it is coming right into the city of Eufaula here, likely in the next 10 minutes. So there's that pocket of rotation that we are watching there in Barber County, a very strong area of rotation for sure, but still not tightening up to the point where it would produce a tornado. But that fear is certainly there as we watch these inbound and outbound winds continue to show up here on the Doppler radar, and that will take it right into the city of Eufaula here very, very soon. There's a look at downtown, which is right here, 82 and 431. So just a few miles now to the northwest. As you saw, that shelf cloud is approaching. You're looking at this part of the storm here, and that pocket of rotation is right in through here, just north of Vasco, just to the south there of Lugo, and this is kind of drifting to the east-southeast. So it looks like the center of the storm will move into the Eufaula area, and this is a spot, if you've been around for any length of time, you know Barber County is kind of a hot spot for rotation. Eufaula in particular, kind of a hot spot for tornadoes. We've had a few tracks in this general area over the past, say, 3 or 4 years, some passing to the north of town, some passing to the south of town, and some passing right on through the city of Eufaula. So a very favorite area, one of these little mini tornado alleys that we have in southeast Alabama. And this is a pocket of rotation that continues to move towards the city of Eufaula, and it has that potential to organize further, to tighten up further, and to produce a tornado, a very potent area of low pressure, or a spin, if you will, in the atmosphere. And again, we're watching this area just to the west now and west-northwest of Eufaula. The outbound winds are not real strong, but they're not going to show up real well because there's no raindrops here to be picked up by the radar. So we don't always get a real good look at the outflow or the outbound winds from the radar and the inflow into the storm. So bottom line is this has definitely the possibility to produce a tornado here as it moves into the city of Eufaula. So we're going to stick with this live coverage until the storm at least passes the city of Eufaula, and we'll keep watching for that potential of that rotation to tighten, I should say, in this part of Barber County. Meteorologist Zach Hatcher is here as well. Zach, you're monitoring what's happening on your end. Anything that you're seeing different from what I'm seeing?
I don't think there's anything different. And really, this is the only game in town right now, but I think this looks a little better from the radar near Tallahassee, and maybe we can show that here.
You're on Max 1 there.
Yeah, I'm on Max 1. I'm just seeing if it looks any different there, but on one of the radar applications on my phone, it looked better from that site. So let's see if it is true. So let's see velocity here. Looks probably about the same. I think there's a potential for some more of this to tighten up, and like David mentioned, this is one of those little tornado alleys. A lot of the storms tend to take that path, fire up around the Lake Eufaula area, and then push eastward. Hopefully it can stay weak until it gets out of the way, but it's in a good environment right now. A lot of energy from the heat and humidity that's been building over the last several days. The energy is real high for this. We're just kind of lacking some of that wind energy. We have a little bit, and that might be enough. So that's why this tornado watch was issued for a lot of our area. But you can see as that rotation moves into the Eufaula area, it's trying to hold on. Doesn't look like there's too much of a brightening there, but still that couplet, and we're going to watch that because that is concerning. And you notice that it's moving into a severe thunderstorm warning just east of Barber County, but I think that warning might be drawn a little bit too big. The threat doesn't really comprise the whole warning box, but I mean, there could be some strong winds within this, but I think the main threat right now is that tornado threat, if anything, but still, I don't think this is doing much yet, but it could surprise us, and we've seen that happen many times before, David.
All right, let me show you a bigger view here. That's a look at the storm there live in Eufaula as it approaches the city at this point with a broad area of rotation. Let's go back to Max 2 here, and this is a look at that storm from the Maxwell Air Force Base radar site there. And notice here, over time, there's been some organization of that rotation. It's been tightening up a little bit, so it's certainly better organized now than it was when it moved into Barber County. It hasn't tightened to the point where it's producing a tornado, but it certainly has that capability. So there's a look at the two different radar sites. That's Maxwell, that's Fort Novacell. So a different view. One's up to the north, one's down to the south, but they're both pinpointing an area of rotation here in the atmosphere, and these are very strong winds showing up on the Fort Novacell radar. So these are winds that are blowing towards the radar site. These are winds blowing away from the radar site, so broad broad area of rotation now, pretty much over the city of Eufaula. Look at the reflectivity here. So you've got a very good inflow occurring, and we've got that circulation on the backside, which is moving towards the city of Eufaula. This has not tightened to the point where it's producing a tornado or a funnel cloud, but there's certainly strong rotation in the atmosphere as it approaches the city of Eufaula at this point. These radar images update every couple minutes or so, and we'll keep watching for the next one to come in. But let's go back to that live shot, if you can, Jonathan, back, and we'll show that storm as it moves into the city of Eufaula. So this is what we're watching here. There's the pocket of rotation. That's what we call a wall cloud, and there's some rotation within that cell as it moves towards the city of Eufaula. So let's, if we can double box this, keep this view up, and we'll show you the radar at the same time. So there's the inflow. That air is rising, and you kind of make out some striations in the atmosphere here. So that's the pocket of rotation that might tighten and actually produce a tornado if it gets together a little bit more, if that rotation tightens a little bit more and moves into the city of Eufaula. So this is what we're looking here just to the west and northwest of town. I'll stand on this side and give you a view of everything, what's happening. So a very good shot there of that cell moving into the city of Eufaula, and this is what it looks like on radar. And we'll switch back over to that velocity view and show you storm relative velocity. These are very strong winds moving into the city of Eufaula. So once that pocket of rotation passes, you'll get a burst of some very gusty winds to move on through, and that may do a little damage. Again, there's no severe thunderstorm warning with this cell from the Birmingham office, but once it crosses the river and moves into Georgia, the Tallahassee office does have a severe thunderstorm warning in anticipation of that cell. So that broad area of rotation is moving into the city of Eufaula. Very cool to see that live shot. And we get oh, come on. We have a good view, or we had a good view of that. Maybe we can get that to reload there as we track that area of rotation into the city of Eufaula. So we're just watching the base velocity here. The best view, of course, is looking at it live on that camera, and we'll try to get that back. But there's a look at that hook, and that hook looks to be just now to the west of downtown. And that's what so this is the hook on radar right through here, and that's what it looks like in person. And let's go back, if you can switch those, Jonathan, switch boxes, put the radar down below, and that live view full screen. That little hook is that lowering that you're seeing. So you see that this little hook right here, and in response, you see that in real life. It's that area of rising air in the atmosphere. And boy, that looks really close to trying to produce a funnel cloud. And so there's a look. I'm going to stand over on this side. We'll keep that radar view up. So on the back side here, we call that a rear flank downdraft. And sometimes that downdraft can help increase the updraft and help to spin up that rotation. So you can definitely make out here some rotation in the atmosphere from this lowering. So that is a wall cloud. That's a supercell thunderstorm that we're looking at there approaching the city of Eufaula. And it's right in through here that we watch for a potential funnel cloud to form that can lead to a tornado. There's been some lowering of that. Just watching it here for the past couple minutes, you can kind of tell there's a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere. The clouds are moving very quickly here across the city of Eufaula, and you can kind of make out here, these aren't really moving that much. They're kind of maybe moving back a little bit. So there's that pocket of rotation in the atmosphere. And to get a tornado, it's a delicate balance between that rear flank outdraft, that downdraft, the outflow, and the inflow coming into that storm. And the parameters today are not ideal for tornadoes. There's not a lot of directional shear in the atmosphere. There's some speed shear, but there's not a lot of directional shear. So the tornado threat, even though we have a tornado watch in effect for parts of the area, isn't real great. And you can have pockets of rotation like this that look impressive for a period, but they actually never spin up into a tornado. And fingers crossed, that's what we're hoping is happening at this point. But certainly some lowering in the atmosphere here, and sometimes these get rain wrapped and all of a sudden you lose the visibility, and there could be a funnel cloud that's touching the ground and we can't even see it because of the rain that's kind of coming in with that circulation. So there's a look at the Doppler radar. What you see there in that debris tracker is a bit of a hole. I'm not sure that's any kind of a debris signature at all, though. Just looking at the actual radar and looking at what we're seeing with that live shot. So there's a look at that circulation area right in through here, moving into the city of Eufaula, and it's becoming a little wrapped in rain. I think you can kind of see, if you look at the left side of that live camera view, that uniform color of gray. So this is kind of the rain area that's kind of getting wrapped into that circulation, and that's probably a good thing because that might help to weaken that area of rotation a little bit. Hard to see here. We've got the trees in the way from that cloud base, but there certainly could be a funnel cloud that forms in this area. And this is just to the west now of the city of Eufaula. You can kind of see the trees there picking up. The gusty winds are about to move in along with that pocket of some heavy rainfall. But there's been some contamination of that rain-free cloud base from some showers forming. It's warm and it's humid outside. Dew points have jumped up into the 70s today as expected. And this storm is on the southern flank of the cluster of storms moving through parts of Alabama and Georgia. So it's in a pretty favorable environment for rotation. And again, it's right behind these trees here, that lowering that we're looking at in the atmosphere. And we can't zoom in this camera too much, unfortunately. We can kind of move it around a little bit. So you see that rain-free cloud base right through here, and then that lowering is right in this area. So could be a rain-wrapped area of rotation, could be a funnel cloud. Again, could potentially form into a tornado. Very gusty winds coming on through as that rain moves in. So you'll notice that in the city of Eufaula, but the tightening of the rotation area hasn't really happened. It's certainly visible on the Doppler radar. That rotation area is visible, and it's visible looking at the actual live view as well. So there's that lowering right in through here. And notice the winds picking up here in the city of Eufaula. Some much needed rainfall, and some gusty winds to go along with that rainfall. And we'll keep watching that rotation here as it crosses over the lake then and then into Georgia. So watching that pocket of rotation as it moves to the east. Definitely some rain contamination now with our view. Good lightning shot there. We're going to lose our visibility here as that rain moves into the city of Eufaula. But there's a rain-free cloud base, and there's that lowering that we're watching here. And boy, that rain is about to really pick up in the city of Eufaula. Some heavy downpours. A lot of lightning with this cell also. And there's that rain on the radar moving right on into downtown. There's 431, there's 82 that crosses over into Georgia. Heavy rainfall with this cell moving into the lake and then crossing over into Georgia. But there is no distinct rotation that would indicate tornado on the Doppler radar. Certainly, as we saw there with that live view, some lowering, a wall cloud, and some rotation. But it looks like maybe that downdraft has maybe choked off the inflow a little bit and weakened that circulation just a little bit here as it crosses over the city of Eufaula and into Georgia. So we'll keep watching the radar here. Again, now this is a severe thunderstorm warned area as we go into Georgia. Again, different offices here. Birmingham did not have a warning on the cell. Tallahassee, which issues warnings for pretty much everything, they do have a severe thunderstorm warning for that cell as it moves into Georgia. Gusty winds, looks like those winds, maybe switch that around. Those winds are probably kicking up over 30 or 40 miles per hour with that heavy rainfall coming into Eufaula at this point. That's the southernmost storm that we're watching, and there's a big view of what we're looking at here across the far northeastern part of our coverage area, Barber County, and then into Clay County, or Quitman County, and Clay County, maybe clip by it as well. Henry County, there's a warning there, but it looks like the worst of it stays just to the north of you. But as this cell moves into your area, expect some heavy rainfall, some gusty winds, and again, a lot of lightning occurring as well with the storm as it moves into Georgia. So we'll keep watching this. That rotation area is still evident on Doppler radar. It has not tightened up, which is some good news, but there are certainly some strong winds here that may gust over 50 miles per hour as it moves into Georgia here and crosses from Eufaula into Georgia. So we'll wrap up our coverage for now. We'll keep monitoring these storms and any other storms that form. Kind of some good news that this has not tightened up anymore as it's come on through Barber County here in southeast Alabama. But that threat is there for some strong storms this afternoon, and then tonight we're watching what will likely be a cluster of storms moving from the west that may impact a good chunk of the area with damaging straight line winds. That's the main severe threat that we're looking at for early tomorrow morning. Could be a bowing segment, a bow echo that moves on through with winds in excess of 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. So a very active situation here. A very volatile atmosphere is in place. More of these pop-up showers and storms today. It's hot, it's humid, and we've got some wind energy in the atmosphere to tap into that energy and produce some strong to severe storms. So we'll wrap it up for now. We'll have more coverage as needed right here on WTVY News 4.
This has been a forewarned weather alert.